Well, we're getting ready again to go out to the apiary. Today's agenda is to kill the queen bees that we have in our current hives, so that way we can requeen them with new, young, and nicer queens. We got a breed that's known to be more gentle, and we're hoping that that will change how our hives behave when we're working on them. It's a very steamy day. I'm already sweating buckets. But that's what it's like being a beekeeper in Texas. By splitting the hives and using a more gentle breed, we will be able to use half suits or even a hood only, which will be really nice in the middle of summer. I think we're good. Just gotta get my gloves. Got the smoke going. We'll see you out there. Since the camera's so far away, I'll tell you what I'm doing as I go along. Next time I'll record much closer. I started with this front hive so that the back hives wouldn't be as agitated with me. You'll see me pulling apart the two supers and then going through frame by frame, looking for the brood nest. I've smoked the hive and now I'm waiting for Mark to come and help me separate the boxes. I'm not supposed to be lifting anything too heavy still, so just being careful. There was propolis and burrcomb holding the two boxes together, so we had to gently separate them in order to get the boxes apart. When I pull out a frame, I'm looking to see if there's brood or if it's honey and pollen on the frame. I also watch the behavior of the bees. Usually they will act differently if the queen is around. You'll notice Mark in the background. He is removing old equipment from the bee yard. These hives died for various reasons, but the biggest reason is we didn't check them enough, so we missed the signs of weakness, and it was too late. While I'm looking at the frames, I'm taking time to also clean them up a little, taking off the burrcomb and excessive propolis. This one's definitely ready for a split.
What?
But this one's definitely good for a split.
Okay.
What I'm noticing when I'm looking in the box is that there are tons of bees. I'm also not finding a lot of brood in this bottom box, and I'm starting to suspect that it's queenless. Since I hadn't inspected the top box yet, I was hoping that I would find more brood in it when I went to inspect those frames. Usually I'd be looking for signs of the queen by looking for eggs and larvae, but we have light colored foundation on this hive and they're really difficult for me to see. I'm not seeing a bunch of brood. We have a very dysfunctional queen. All honey and pollen. I'm still hoping there's brood in that top box, but the brood I'm finding in this bottom one is very sporadic, and that could mean that the queen isn't laying well because she's old. It could also mean that she's not there at all. And the worst case scenario is a laying worker. Though it could be a laying worker, I'm not really thinking that because it doesn't look like drone brood which usually looks a lot bigger or a little bigger when it's capped. Earlier I talked about the fact that the foundation that we have on some of these frames is a light colored. We have been replacing that with a black foundation. We do this when we harvest the honey or have to do repairs to a hive for some reason. The black foundation just gives you a better contrast to see the eggs and what's going on in the brood nest. I'm not sure there's a queen in here. Well, I don't know. I found a queen cell. But it's not, it shouldn't be because they're over full, because like they have room to make honey. I did see several queen cells on a few of the different frames. A lot of them were really small though and didn't look like they had produced anything. But the one that I just mentioned was bigger, and I bet it probably produced a queen.
Maybe even put a belt around.
And they're not acting like all of the little areas that I've gone through. None of them were acting like queens there. Must be on this top block. I'm working on closing this up. I'm gonna need a break after this one.
Okay.
Get some water. Lots of drones. Back's starting to.
Oh.
Being bent over.
Hearing myself mention the drones makes me think maybe it could be a laying worker. We are literally standing in like 2 inches of water everywhere. We've had so much rain this spring, it's made beekeeping really difficult. And funny thing is, we got our big 4x4 truck stuck this day. We might post video of us getting it out later. After beekeeping so many years, you'd think that I'd be good at keeping a smoker going. But it really is an art, and I'm not great at it.
Alive.
Mark's about to start working on the back 2 hives, so he comes to save the day with the smokers. We end up switching, and he gets the other one going better, so that way he can work on the hives.
I've gone through last frame one more time. And if she's in there, she's moving around, obviously. She's here. Like, whenever they are swarming around, like, one section, it looks like it ends up being like an area where the honey is, and they're trying to get to the honey. This is the one that has the most brood on it. Maybe she'll come back to it. Or she might be up in that top box by chance. I cleaned up some of the frames. I haven't done all of them because it's time consuming.
Yeah, that's not the
One last look at this frame on the bottom that has the most brood on it, trying to see if I can find any signs of a queen. Queen bees are generally bigger than the worker bees. They can be like a caramel color. It can be a little bit lighter or darker shade than the worker bees. The body shape is like more elongated.
If someone slows this part up and do that top box. We need to get some, probably get some sugar water for the split. I might do that this afternoon.
Mark is starting the first of the 2 hives that he ends up working on. This hive is a lot calmer than the next one. Usually when going through the boxes and inspecting frames, you're really careful to not squish the queen, make sure that she stays in the box, that you don't drop her on the ground or anything. Since we are trying to kill the queen, we don't need to be nearly as careful as I was being on the set of boxes I was working on. You'll notice that Mark works much quicker than me. You also notice that he had the same problem getting the boxes apart because of the burr comb and propolis. So queen bees don't typically fly. They're too heavy because the workers keep them fed and healthy. But if for some reason they're deciding to swarm, they will starve the queen to make her light enough to fly. Part of what we're talking about is the fact that Mark thinks he saw the queen and it flew off. This makes me skeptical that it was the queen, but I'm not the one inspecting it, so I don't know how much brood there is or what's going on really. If the queen did fly away, that could be a sign that they were going to swarm anyway.
Oh, so, no more frames in here. Guess I'm gonna consider the queen gone.
I mean, that's, I don't know. Good and bad. I mean, she come back. If she flew out, she can fly back.
She flew out, she might flew back. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying I can't know what you can do.
And then if she's gone, that was the mission. So hopefully it's the case.
There's no good brood in here. Like, there's no sign of new baby eggs. But it's also the white background, you know, the foundation.
We have 7 queen bees to replace the queens that we're killing. We do plan to let these hives sit for a couple of days without their queens. This will let the pheromones of the queens we're getting rid of to dissipate, so that way the worker bees are more willing to accept the new queen.
I don't know what this was, but it looked natural. Like or and they contained it. Because it's a strong hive.
What I saw on that frame was the remnants of wax moths, or the larva of wax moths. This hive was really strong apparently at one point, and they took care of it. It was contained to this one little area that I was able to scrape out, and the bees are just going to have to rebuild the comb there.
You can finally kill the queen in this one. I'm gonna check the rest of it just to be sure. Just make sure it's from.
Drones have to be done.
Can't tell anymore this much. I'll switch it. I was about to let another one get away.
Yeah.
While I think about it.
Mark thinks he squished the queen. He's worried that it might have been a drone, but now that it's squished, he can't tell anymore. But he didn't want it to get away.
Guess you can put this back together.
Okay. That's right.
Mark's working on his second hive. This hive had more bees than the other 2. You'll notice that there are a lot of bees on the front of the white box he's working on. In the end, after we put it all back together, as we're driving away, I look back and the entire hive is covered in bees and is black. Usually I bring a bucket to put the burr comb and propolis and different things that we scrape off the hives in, but I'm having to improvise today because I didn't bring one. I'm trying to help so we can get through it and be done for the day. We're both tired. And we still have to get the truck unstuck. At this point, my back is really hurting. I've had surgery about 4 weeks ago, I think, and I had been bending over those boxes for way longer than I probably should have. This hive was not happy. You can see what looks like static or things blowing. Those are actually the bees flying all around, really angry. I'm glad we were able to find the queens, or at least we think we did. And at this point, we are grabbing our things and getting out of there. The bees are really upset. So to recap real quick, we had these 3 double deep hives that we inspected in order to find the queen and kill her, so that way we can do a split to the hives in a couple days. I believe that the front hive was queenless, and Mark believes he was able to kill the queens in the back 2 hives. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it was interesting. The next video will be much better since we'll have the camera in a better position, and I'll actually be able to maybe show you some of the frames and what's going on in these hives.